I just want to tell you one thing. If the truth has just become hate speech, well, you might as well lock me up because I'm not shutting up. One of the key conservative principles is national security. And the fact that we are here and we're now talking about this issue, this is one of the things that the American people look to conservative, principled leadership to do, which is to protect them. And if we do not stand up in this great convention that we're having here right now and profess who we are and that we understand this situation, this issue, the American people will turn away from us. You have to hold the conservative leaders that you see here this weekend accountable to do the things to protect you. Now, let me explain some things, because I've been sitting back here listening. I'm sick and tired of people saying war on terror. There's no such thing as war on terror. In World War II, how smart would it have been if the United States of America said that they were at war with the Blitzkrieg, or if they were at war with the kamikaze? A nation does not go to war against a tactic. Just the same way. When you sit around and you see our strategic level leaders here in Washington, D.C., go on all these Sunday pundit shows, and they talk about how great it is that we're directing drone attacks. If you think back to what happened in Vietnam, when LBJ was doing bombing approval right here out of the White House, that's not what a strategic level thinker is supposed to be doing. That's not strategic perspective. A nation goes to war against an ideology. And that's what we've been talking about here today. We've been talking about the fact that we are against something that is a totalitarian, theocratic, political ideology, and it is called Islam.
These are the brothers of Revolution Muslim.
We tell you Muslims to rise up.
They are recruiting just outside New York's 96th Street Mosque.
That the Koran commands that you disavow and make hatred and enmity between democracy, between nationalism, between secularism, and that you see Obama as the enemy he really is. That you see the United States as the enemy it really is.
Youssef al-Khattab, a Jew who lived in Israel and abruptly converted to Islam, and Yunus Abdullah Muhammad, also a convert, both born and raised in the United States, a country whose way of life they say they hate. And if you are not a Muslim, they count you as a disbeliever. Their mission? To terrorize you.
We're commanded to terrorize the disbelievers. And this is a religion, like I said.
Commanded to terrorize the disbelievers?
The Quran says very clearly in the Arabic language, Turhibuna. This means terrorize them. It's a command from Allah.
That has existed since 622 AD, since the 7th century. It got started with a thing called the Nakla Raid, which was after Muhammad made his hijrah, leaving Mecca, going out to Medina. It has been violent ever since. It has confronted Western civilization, and this is just another chapter in the long book that they are writing to conquer each and every one of us. And now is our time. Just as our forefathers had to stand and turn these enemies back, we must now stand and turn these enemies back. And today, you have heard Stephen talk about abrogation. You need to understand things such as the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, where they will sit and they will deceive you by holding off so that they can become strong, which is how, back at about 627, 628, that is how Muhammad was able to then go in and overtake Mecca. The exact same thing that is happening right now. You need to understand the traditions of Muhammad. When he wrote letters to Khosroes, the Persian emperor, when he wrote letters to Heraclius, the Byzantine emperor, that said, you have three choices. You convert, you subjugate, or we're coming to get you. Well, guess what? Back in about 1992, Osama bin Laden did the exact same thing. He sent a letter to the United States of America. Later on, in about 2005 or 2006, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad did the exact same thing. He sent a letter to the American people and to President Bush. We are already in a declared war, and if we do not have the type of leadership that can understand that can study this enemy, this adversary, we're on the road to perdition right now in this great country. We need to understand, as everyone here has stood and told you, Sharia law is incompatible with who we are in Western civilization, and definitely who we stand for in the United States of America. It is not about freedom. It is not about liberty. It is not about protecting human rights or women's rights. It is about what Islam says. The word means submission. And I don't know about you all here. I'm not living as a dhimmi. I'm not living and subject to any other type of ideology except for that which is written in the Constitution of these great United States of America.
To an Ahmadiyya mosque not far from here. The fourth such attack in recent weeks.
Thank you. We must understand that we have to regain the initiative in this fight. Just the same as our young soldiers now are operating under this restrictive rules of engagement, which prevent them from having the initiative against the enemy. You just saw in Marja and Helmand province where the Taliban will come out and drop their weapons and walk out and taunt our soldiers and go away to fight again. That would not happen under my command if I was commander-in-chief.
Every Muslim knows that Israel is occupying Muslim land, and obviously this needs to be repelled. You know, they need to return from where they came. How is it that you can occupy our land and our homes and steal our resources, and you want us to accept it? You would not accept that for your own backyard. You know, Israel is not, you know, Kansas or, you know, Tennessee. This is Muslim soil, Muslim land, which has been occupied, and it has been stolen, and it will be revived. You know, one of the things about Egypt, let me tell you.
So if you have your radical way,
wait a second. When Egypt is liberated and the Sharia is implemented,
you can't answer a simple question. So if you have your way, you're saying you want to wipe Israel off the map. You want Israel destroyed. You don't want the state of Israel because you have this view. Now, here's the point I'm trying to make to you, and I will finish my thought.
And just the same, we need to develop the right type of strategic level rule of engagement, because our constitutional rights should not be afforded to illegal enemy combatants as stated in the Geneva Convention. We can no longer allow this enemy to come in and use this new tactic of lawfare, which most of the people standing here know that is how they continue to try to get you to shut up. We should be going after them, not allowing them to use our legal system, and I'll be damned any lawyer that will stand up and prosecute a United States citizen to take away their freedom of speech. They are not my brother. They are not my sister. They need to pack up and leave this country. If we continue on in this political correct multiculturalism atmosphere that's on steroids, we are paralyzing ourselves from taking the right and proper actions. We see what is happening in Sudan. We see what is happening in Austria. We know about Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. We know what's happening in Denmark. Trend analysis is what we called it. There's nothing wrong with it. And for those of y'all here that are in the media, stop calling it profiling. It's about identifying the enemy and what they're doing and going after them. When I was a commander in Iraq, I knew that young men on dirt bikes were coming out of the groves to lay out IEDs and attack us. I was not going to chase women in burqas in the middle of the night in their houses. It's trend analysis. Stop being politically correct. Stop allowing them to come into our country.
مرگ بر امریکا رابطمون با امریکا نمیشه بر امریکا پلید نایی
Atomic Jihad, Ahmadinejad's coming war for Islamic revival, and Obama's politics of defeat.
They've got a score to settle, they're tired of waiting. Gonna get even with the great Satan.
My administration is now committed to diplomacy.
They say no thanks, Mr. President.
امروز ملت ایران یک ملت صاحب فناوری هسته است.
Ain't gonna be no reconciliation under your tent. Don't have to be president of the United States to know we're living in a dangerous place.
که به محض دسترسی به فناوری‌های پیشرفته.
For it is only when people come together and seek common ground that some of that mistrust can begin to fade.
Death to America's a popular rant. Pulpits and rallies echo the chant. Don't matter who's a hawk or a dove. Nobody's in the Mahmoud for love.
سلطه شیطانی آمریکا بر جهان رو به نابودی.
God help he who negotiates.
We will be respectful even when we do not agree.
Living in a dangerous place. We're all dancing barefoot on broken glass till someone administers the coup de grace. Morass of cultural discrepancies.
If you do not understand that the reality of your enemy must become your own, we can continue in this state of denial. When I read the Fort Hood attack based upon what Major Hassan did, I was absolutely appalled. When I stood there and watched the Sunday show, when General Casey, Chief of Staff of the Army, said he was more so concerned about diversity being a casualty than the loss of the 13 soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, we have problems in the leadership in these United States of America. We must accept their reality. And the way ahead is so simple. You've got to get the right type of leadership in this country, because that's what it's about. We've got to get the right type of leadership across Europe. We've got to get the right type of leadership that will not be afraid. Members of the media, stop attacking Jews and Christians. Stop being afraid of this enemy. Show the same type of vehemence that you want against your fellow Americans, against them. Because let me tell you something, 30 to 40 years from now, if they're successful and they have control of this country, there will be no free media. There will be no free speech. There will be no freedom of expression. And guess what? You will have been complicit in this because you are too much of a coward to take a stand.
گفتگوی اسلامی در همه عرصه ها.
Crowded beneath the sword of Damocles.
But the most powerful weapon in our arsenal is the hope of human beings.
When you're sure you're right and the other side's wrong, God's on your side and your arsenal's strong.
I am not naive.
War has been declared. You ought to be scared.
Hope. Hope.
A stone's throw from a doomsday scenario. Riding a camel or driving Chevrolets.
We believe in dialogue.
It's a dangerous place. Does anybody really understand the situation?
All of us share common aspirations.
Are you ready for the end of the equation?
اضمحلال قدرت اهریمنی آمریکا به صدا در آمده است.
Pay close attention now and you'll find out why we're all living in a dangerous place.
A fellow citizen of the world.
Now is the time for principled leadership in the United States of America. Because as the quote that Elizabeth has taken from me, when tolerance becomes a one-way street, it leads to cultural suicide. When I am able to fly to Saudi Arabia with my Bible in hand, with my cross around my neck, to go to Mecca and go to a church, then guess what? We're good to go. But until that point, we have to understand the objectives and the goals that Islam has set forward. We have to be proud of who we are. We cannot have leadership that will go stand before the Turkish General Assembly and say that America is not a Judeo-Christian nation. We cannot have a leadership that goes and stands in front of a university in Cairo, Egypt, and apologizes for the United States of America. That is not about what American pride is. We cannot have leadership that is asked, how do you define victory? And they cannot. Well, let me tell you, this is how I define victory. It's just the same as Ronald Reagan did when he was asked about communism. We win, they lose. God bless you all. Thank you.
They could not arrest him, and until just 2 days ago, the mosque was completely destroyed by fire. And we have reasonable belief that this could have been a deliberate attack on the mosque, given the history of the attacks on this mosque, for attempts to destroy it, to vandalize it and burn it, and eventually it was completely destroyed in the fire that you and I are talking about.
I think it was your own master, George Bush, who said, either you're with us or with the terrorists. And, you know, we're not with America, definitely, so we must be with the terrorists. I think that
so you're with the terrorists.
Isolated
most of the world. Now you can answer my question. Do you support ISIS telling Christians, the Yazidis, in Mosul, northern Iraq, that they must convert to Islam, pay a tax, or die? What do you think of that?
This is simply false. It didn't happen. The fact is that the Muslims in the Islamic State, well, allow me to answer the question.
Absolutely happened.
The Muslims in the Islamic State, the Muslims in the...
They've been chased out of their homes. Children. Obviously, you need an education.
And then I'll answer the question when you finish.
Let me educate you, because obviously you're pretty ignorant. But we have video of children that have been beheaded, like this photojournalist, women and children with their heads placed on a stick after they've been beheaded, and we have one report after another of people who have been killed, chased out of their homes. They're in the Sinjar Mountains. The world is dropping food to support them and to protect them from radical friends of yours that you obviously support. And I'm just asking, do you support the concept of an Islamic caliphate of either convert or die? Do you support that? It's a simple question. Why don't you just tell the truth what you believe?
Can I answer the question without interruption, or you want to ask another question?
Come on, go ahead. Do you support convert or die?
What you're talking about is complete falsehood.
What's eventually going to happen, eventually the world's going to wake up to what I would say. And every radical Islamist like you will be wiped off the face of the earth, because you have no respect for women, you have no respect for people of other faiths, you have no respect for innocent human life, you are radical and you want your religion or no religion.
Whatever it is, do it. Do it. Satisfied. Go on and do it. Do it. Do it. Satisfied. Whatever it is, do it. Do it. Satisfied. People know just what they like to do. Whatever it is, you got it. As long as it pleases you, make it last as long as you can. And when you're through, it's up to you to try it again. Go on and do it. Do it now. Do it till you're satisfied. Whatever it is, do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Go on and do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Whatever it is, do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Everybody knows what they like to do. Whatever it is, do it. As long as it pleases you, just take some time and relax your mind. Then do it. Do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Do it. Do it now. Satisfied. Whatever it is, do it. Till you're satisfied. Go on and do it. Till you're satisfied. Whatever it is, do it now. Till you're satisfied. When you holler, oh,
got no respect. The sixth pillar of your faith, also my death. I'm a concept our politicians can't get.
As long as it pleases you, just take some time and relax your mind.
I'm a murder cowboy.